Hey guys! Today I want to show you how to practice difficult music. All of us at some point have experienced the frustration of practicing a passage over and over and over again, and it for some reason just doesn't get better. We spend hours on it and our fingers get tired, we get frustrated, and nothing seems to be getting better. And it's not for lack of trying, it's not for lack of putting in the time, it's just something isn't working. And usually it's because we're not using our practice time efficiently. We are not practicing in the correct ways. I've heard a lot of teachers teach how to practice effectively, and they come up with different answers of how to do this. But generally there are staples of practice this way. There are certain general rules of this really does work. And surprisingly, a lot of musicians don't know what these rules are. I was thinking back in my previous practicing frustrating experiences, well, what is the hardest thing that I've encountered during my practice time? What are some really just, frustrating things that I've practiced? And there are quite a few. I'm thinking, the opening to Don Juan, or, some parts to the Schumann Concerto. But the most obvious, of course, would be something from the Popper cello etude books, of course, because Popper is the devil. I recently uploaded a little clip to Instagram from a Popper etude, and it was number 19. And yes, I am definitely advertising my Instagram account. You should definitely go follow me, hint hint. But I thought I would use this little Instagram clip as kind of an example of kind of a tricky part or a tricky piece of music that maybe one of you will experience. This is from the Popper etude book. Oh man, okay, the cover fell off of it. Well, okay, I'll just show you the music. This is the etude that I'm talking about. And here's the clip. It is taken from the second page. It's in the middle of the etude. Here's my process that I would go about learning this passage. I did this many years ago, and this obviously isn't what everyone would do. This is just what I would do, and years from now my process might change. This is just something that I would recommend right now, currently. So step number one, of course, you want to figure out the notes, measure by measure, note by note, very slowly. Be patient with yourself. If you want to take one measure per day, that's fine. Don't get frustrated. So I would just very slowly go through each note, make sure that I'm playing it in tune, have a keyboard right next to me, double checking the notes, making sure that everything's in tune. Just very slowly, even slower than what I just did probably. And then as I was going through this process, just very slowly figuring out the notes with the keyboard, making sure everything's in tune, I would circle the place where the pattern changes. This pattern right here. That part right there, we have a repeating pattern for I think, yeah, 2 measures. And then suddenly we break that pattern when we go from a C natural to a C sharp. So I would take a pencil and I would circle that area because I want my eyes to immediately jump to that spot and prepare ahead of time. Like, okay, I need to be ready for that change so my fingers don't get, befuddled and whatnot. And I'm ready for that change. And so once I kind of have it mapped out, I have the places circled where I could possibly mess up, you know, I have everything straightened out in my mind, then I will go back, I'll do it again slowly, and this time I'll do it with a drone. A drone, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a device where you can set it to a certain pitch, and it holds that tone and it holds that pitch while you're playing a melody on top of it. So for example, it can hold in a natural while I'm playing this melody on top of it. But it'll hold that one pitch. I would give you an example, but mine broke because I broke it. So in this point of the process, you know the notes, you know where your fingers are supposed to go, and so you can start increasing the speed. But at this point, you have to be very, very careful because it's going to be easy to build a lot of tension. And so, in order to avoid this, what I like to do is start introducing, you should always have this in your playing, but what I like to do is really focus on this ping effect where you ping it and then you release. So it's tension, release, tension, release. And how I do that is I focus on my right hand, because the left hand always reacts to what the right hand is doing. You really can't help it. It's just they're tied. They are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this passage with a very short bow, where it's kind of a tug at the beginning of the note and then it's an instant release. So tug with my first finger, release. So pull, release, push, so pull, push. So there's tension, relax. It's very slight. And it doesn't have to sound pretty. We just want it to sound short and release. We just want it short, where we have that dun, dun. It's like just a ping, release, ping, release. And the nice thing, the reason why we do this is because if this hand is releasing, then this hand is also going to release. And so we have it pressed so that we hear the note, but as soon as it's pressed, it releases. So that means that all of our muscles are releasing the tension as soon as the note is played. So press, 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 press. So whenever we go in fast motion, it's going to be really light and it's going to be really easy and there's not going to be a lot of tension. So, but of course we always want to start slowly in our practice. So, it sounds boring, but you're going to want to practice like this. Or even slower than that. It really, the slower the better. And again, it does not have to sound pretty. It can sound crunchy, it really can. The main thing is that we just want to ingrain in your nervous system the feeling of releasing the tension in your muscles. So press release as quickly as possible. We want to hear the note, but we want to have that instant relaxation. So now that you know the notes and you know how to keep your hand relaxed, you can start building the tempo and you can start adding in dynamics and phrasing. Again, make sure that you don't build the tempo too much. You don't want to get a sloppy, messy sound. You always want to be in control and keep the sound crisp and clear. You don't want to make your nervous system, jangled, jangled nerves, if you've ever heard that term. It's just bleh. Like, you don't want to make yourself feel anxious. So always make sure that you're staying in control. Now there are some other practicing tricks to take it to the next level, to get the tempo even faster and make it even cleaner and clearer. And I will be sharing those in part 2 of this series. Wow, series. I guess that means I'm doing a part 3. So I will be releasing that next week, so definitely keep an eye out for that. If you have any questions, please let me know. I always do my best to answer. And yeah, I hope this video helps.